Okay, looks like we are live.
Cheers.
Hey everybody. So you'll notice, first of all, that we are
not in the normal location.
Not in our normal surroundings. And while it's not our normal night, it's Wednesday night. If we missed you on Monday, we're very sorry about that. We had a little bit of a family issue that we needed to deal with, and unfortunately, what's going on is we want to let you all know, because she's been featured on our show before, is that we had to say goodbye to Eris on Monday.
Her health took a turn for the worse over the weekend, and she let us know it was time.
Yep. So we were dealing with that on Monday, and Monday was a very bad day.
So we needed some space.
We needed some space. We're still not in the best of shape, but
that's our change of scenery.
Yeah, that is in part our change of scenery, where we escaped. We needed to get away for a little bit, but so here we are. A little change of surroundings for tonight.
The first of many we actually hope to maybe do. Possibly partner with some of our friends in the paranormal community and take you to some other haunted locations in the future and tell some stories there. This is something we've been throwing around, so this is kind of our trial run for that.
Yep.
Now we're going to talk about haunted highways tonight.
Yep. But before that, cheers to y'all.
And cheers to Eris.
Cheers to Eris, who we are going to miss terribly. So our little escape, where we are, we know things are kind of wild out in the world right now, and we're not here to address that tonight. We are here to, give a little bit of an escape, and to kind of give a little bit of a distraction, just to chat up some spooky stories. For us over some drinks. If you are partaking as well, cheers to you. And
we're enjoying a local wine.
Oh yeah,
Moscato tonight.
Yes, a little bit of wine to go with some spooky stories tonight.
All right, so we're going to bounce around the upper New England area, Northeast Kingdom, that sort of thing. And as you can tell, Chris is, since we're in our different spot.
Oh, yeah. Hey, sorry.
We're having to move around with our technical stuff a little bit so he can respond to people who are commenting. But we'll be, going back and forth and sharing the stories. But we're going to start at our most northern point, come down a little bit, and then go back up again. Chris and I stomped around this area. These are the areas kind of that we grew up in. I grew up in Vermont and New York. Chris grew up in New York, so we're kind of coming home to some of those haunted highways up in this area. So we're going to start actually in Maine. In Haynesville, Maine, there is a Route 2A that is haunted. It's a notoriously dangerous road, especially in the winter months. Those of you who have traveled in northern areas in the winter, you know it can be treacherous when the snow happens. And there is a lethal 90-degree turn where many people have lost their lives on this road. It's so dangerous that the road actually has been immortalized in a song called A Tombstone Every Mile by Dick Curless. So that just tells you how treacherous this road is. And it's also become known as one of Maine's most haunted stretches of road, and there are two very distinct things that happen on this road. So the first thing, I want you to put your mindset in the afternoon of a local who's just returning from running errands, and they're tapping to take Route 2A home. As you're driving along, you come up towards near where this bend is, and on the side of the road, you see a young woman who's illuminated in your headlights. It's very chilly outside. It's starting to get dark, and you're wondering why on earth is this woman walking around in the snow. So you pull over to help her. She flags you down as soon as she sees your car. She's just waving, stop, I need your help. When you actually stop your car and you roll down your window, she tells you she's been in an accident, her husband's still at the car, she needs help. So of course, what do? You're a good Samaritan. You help her. You get her into the car so she can start to warm up, and you are about to go and drive to give her help, to get her to a place that you can get her help, or to go back to the accident. That's the driver's choice at this point in time. You turn to her to ask more questions, and that's when you realize that the temperature in the car got significantly colder. We're talking major temperature drop, probably 10 degrees. Nobody's actually measured it. I don't think anybody's actually tried to reach for equipment when they've had this experience. I can't think of... I never have my ghost equipment handy in my car unless I'm going to a hunt. But as soon as you turn to her to start asking her more details about the accident, where did it take place, was your husband still conscious, those types of things, that's when you turn and you discover she's no longer in your car. There's no blood stains. There's no evidence that she was ever in your car. Other people report as they drive up to her and just pull over, that's when she disappears. It seems to be that she is always summoning people for help, but she can never get the help for her husband. A lot of people believe that this was a crash that happened many years ago. Beginning of the winter, they were driving, they were a newly wedded couple, they were driving along this road, and he hit an icy patch and hit a utility pole. There were actually newspaper reports of this. Unfortunately, they didn't mention names, or the names have been lost to time. But it was reported in the newspaper that she tried to rouse him, but he didn't respond to her. She told him she was going to go get help. She got out of the car. He was dead on impact, but she didn't realize that. She got out of the car, climbed up the embankment, started walking in the snow. It was freezing. It was dark. She ended up freezing to death on the side of the road. She was found the next day. So she seems to spend an eternity trying to get help for her husband.
Would you do that for me?
I would, but I'd rather be with you.
Oh, yeah, okay. I guess that's an acceptable caveat.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she is not the only tragic victim to be seen on this stretch of road. There's also a young girl who's about 10 years old who's seen on this stretch of road. She is wearing a dress. She's walking again along the side of the road, obviously having difficulty walking. She's injured. You're not sure of what her injuries are, but you start to pull up near her, and that is when she kind of stumbles off to the side of the road and she disappears. When you do see her, you can't see any blood on her or on her dress, and she is unfortunately one of two little girls who were hit by a semi on this road, and for some reason she is seen but not her companion, who was also killed by this semi. And they were killed in 1967, so this this little girl's been wandering on this road for quite a while.
Yep, over 50 years now.
Mm-hmm. I always get worried when somebody's past me.
It's very, Stephen King-esque.
It is. Yeah. It is. And
that was,
Maine, because he lives in Maine.
Yeah, and that was one of the main plot points from Pet Sematary.
Yep.
So.
I have not seen Pet Sematary, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I don't do horror
that much. But yes, yeah, Maine has plenty of spooky stories, both real and
the fiction.
Thanks to Stephen King and his wife Tabitha. I mean, she's a very prolific and talented writer in her own right. So, if you haven't looked her up, I recommend you do so.
Didn't he just do a virtual tour of his house during the pandemic?
I think he did.
Yeah, so that'd be something cool to check out.
Because he lives the horror life. His house is...
His house is spooky as all shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh well. Have a little more to drink. It's all good.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna stay in Maine, and we're gonna pop over to Boothbay, which is one of the places I actually really do want to go and see. One of my good friends actually summers up here, or takes a vacation every summer up in Boothbay whenever he can, and tells me it's a fantastic place to go. So, yes. On the list.
Yes. So Boothbay, Maine. This is revolving around River Road up there, and this story is called "Kindly Neighbors." This is kind of it's a fun one. It's a sad one, a sweet one. It's got a little bit of everything in it for you.
Yeah.
So the story originates back in the early 1970s. Carol Buxton and her family had just moved into a cottage out on Juniper Point in Boothbay Harbor, and they had been summer residents there for years. Her husband was a military man who soon had to go off to Vietnam, and their to-do list was quite long. It included having to winterize the house, enrolling the kids in school, familiarizing the dogs with the property and its boundaries. Now, they had a couple of dogs. Carol had a Doberman, and her husband had a black lab named Splash. They're usually very obedient dogs, and they would usually stick close to home, so not too many issues there. However, Carol grew concerned after letting the dogs out for the night, and when the Doberman returned and Splash did not, they wound up searching the property, and Splash was nowhere to be found. It was nearing midnight, and they got into the car to extend their search radius away from the house. Carol and her husband drove down to the bridge that goes over to Southport, and there they discovered a man sitting in the middle of the bridge, holding Splash in his lap with a cover over him. The man explained that Splash had run into the road in front of a drunk driver and he was struck. The man had gotten out of the car to go ahead and help the dog, but then the driver sped off, leaving both the man and Splash behind. Carol and her husband got Splash into their car and they rushed home to call the police. And then also to find out where, of course, the nearest vet's office was. So they were told to drive up the point to Newcastle, where they would find Dr. Day's office. Being new to the area, they did not know that the fastest way to get to Dr. Day's was up Route 1, and instead they took River Road. Now, River Road, very windy, very dangerous road, and mind you, this is late at night at this point.
And they're not familiar with the area, so this is not a good scenario for them.
Yeah. Now, they're driving along, very panicked and distraught. Carol and her husband, they drove it in pitch blackness while Splash lay beneath a blanket in the back seat. Not sure of how far they needed to travel along River Road, they looked for a house with its lights on so they could ask for some further directions. Carol recalled, there were a lot of colonial houses, but no lights on anywhere. It was midnight, and we didn't know where we were going. We suddenly saw one house, a white house that I remember, with lights on up a very short driveway. They pulled up the driveway and knocked. Carol continues, an elderly lady came to the door, completely dressed. Her husband stood behind her in the background. They looked to be maybe about 80 or 90. They were formally dressed like they were going to church. Carol begged the woman to tell her where they could find Dr. Day's office. The woman calmly asked Carol if she would like to come inside. Carol declined the invite and repeated her question, and the woman gave her precise directions to Dr. Day's office.
Now, Carol does state that she would have never found the office if it was not for this woman's directions. She was a beacon in the light in the middle of the darkness, and a tragedy that they were going through.
Mm-hmm.
So they got to the office. Unfortunately, once the vet examined Splash, it was discovered his backbone was broken, and so they did the humane thing and they put him down. After they had some time to work through their grief, they decided they wanted to go back and find the couple and find the house and thank them profusely for the help that they lent that night. Unfortunately, no matter how many times they drove up and down River Road, they couldn't find the house. They have no idea where it is, and she cannot find this woman and her husband ever again. It wasn't until years later that she started to really think about what happened that night and started wondering, why was this woman and this man up so late? Again, they looked into their 80s, 90s. People that old usually don't stay up late. Why were they fully dressed? So she started to run these things through her mind, and the last thing she thought, I was covered in blood. The woman didn't panic at all. Somebody would have been saying, honey, are you hurt?
Mm-hmm.
And the woman didn't. So 10 years later, Carol's at a party, and she happened to share a story with one of her neighbors that was at the party, a native Boothbayan. I'm not sure if that's actually how you say it, but a native to the area.
A native of Boothbay.
Yeah. Stated, I know the house you're talking of. And Carol's like, oh my God, somebody knows this house. Somebody can give me directions. I can finally go say thank you. Then that neighbor or that native said, yeah, the people that lived there died decades ago. Before Carol had even set foot in Boothbay as a summer resident. But they appear when they're needed. They're always there when they're needed. And people call them the guardian angels.
Carol completely agrees with that assessment.
It's kind of like the room of requirement. It shows up when you need it.
Little Harry Potter trivia for you there.
Yes.
So, that is the story of Boothbay
Yeah.
and their guardian angels on River Road.
Yeah. So I definitely do want to go drive River Road. I gotta ask my friend if he drives River Road.
Yeah, be a good question.
Yeah.
Can shoot Daryl a note.
Yep. Cheers.
Cheers.
To good neighbors and guardian angels.
Yes, amen to that. So, with that, we're going to move along to our next tale for the evening.
Yep. Dropping down to Pennsylvania, which is where part of my family's from.
Yes. And now, not to be confused, this is Ohioville, Pennsylvania.
I actually never knew there was an Ohioville, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
The fun things you learn when you research.
Yep. Kind of like Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
No, but Ohioville, Pennsylvania, and they have a road called Kelly Road. And Kelly Road has a lot of kind of weird stuff happening on it. It's a very short stretch. It's only about 2 miles, and it connects this couple of towns. But its limited length does not stop strange things from happening to those who drive or walk along this route.
Now, here's a warning. If you have pets, don't go on this road. Just saying.
Full
Animals sense things. Don't go on this road with your animals.
Yes. So, animals, and this is any kind of animal, wild animal, domesticated animal, small squirrels, large dogs, they all react very intensely to this road. As soon as an animal's paws touches the asphalt, they take on the characteristics of a rabid animal. They act deranged, unpredictable, and aggressively chase people. Now, locals and visitors have reported strange occurrences while walking along Kelly Road, and it starts once you're only about half a mile down the road, about a quarter of a mile down the full length of the road, for that matter, very short road. But then you'll start to hear the sound of cackling chickens.
Remind you of the first haunted highways we did?
Yeah, kind of a little odd, and this in and of itself would not really be all that unusual. It's a fairly rural area, and there's a lot of people that keep chicken coops. But the chickens sound very close. Typically, the chicken coops are behind the house, and it's very unusual to hear them this close. So you go and you turn around, and you'll see a group of chickens on the roadway that seem to be following you, and they are moving just as quickly as their little legs can carry them. So you increase your pace because they kind of look and sound a little angry. You
don't want to be pecked to death.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with chickens.
They're nasty.
It can be a little nasty. And so after about a half a mile of this would-be chase, the chickens will go ahead, they'll give up, and they'll turn back. Think maybe they're just being territorial, but it is kind of a really strange behavior. Mm-hmm. The next week, you take the same walk, and again, you're about a half a mile in, and you hear a sound behind you, but it's not chickens this time. You will turn around, and you'll see goats. The goats are exhibiting the same behavior as the chickens, and you definitely increase your pace, doubly so this time, because, well, goats are bigger.
Move faster.
Goats are bigger. They can move faster. And you also decide that there will be no more walks along Kelly Road. This type of phenomena is part of the reason why the locals call this section the Mystery Mile.
All right, you bad boy.
Oh.
Yes, I went there.
Boo.
Thank you, Robin Williams. Okay, moving on. Ghost children. There are ghost children on this road as well.
Because animals aren't weird enough.
Yeah, because chickens and goats aren't enough. So one young man actually tells us he was driving along Kelly Road during the day without incidents, and he's done this many, many times. And he decided, okay, I'll take it as a shortcut one night. I'm running late. This is a short point between 2 points. I can take it, no problem. We just heard thunder. Yeah, you're going to get a storm while this is going on.
It was a dark and stormy night.
And we're drinking wine. Woo! Anyway, so back to our gentleman. So he decides to take this shortcut, or what he's deeming a shortcut, on Kelly Road. Now, he's driving in his truck, and his truck's, running pretty well. He just had it tuned up not long ago. And all of a sudden, about a half mile down the road, it stalls out. And he's like, what is going on? Truck should be fine. So he's about to get out and check the engine when he notices in front of him, in the light of the headlights, a mist starting to form. And then it becomes thicker and turns into a fog. And he's going, okay. don't recall there being any weird weather that's being forecasted. What's this all about? Is there a fire? And then he notices that out of the mist forming are some pretty strange images. And then they're starting to look like people. And then he realizes it's not people, it's children. There is a group of children dressed in old-fashioned clothing passing by his truck, acting as if it's not there. As soon as they move past the truck, the engine roars right back to life. The young man is not inclined to question anything he just saw. He just wants to get out of there. And he drives away quickly as possible.
Can't say that blame him.
No. I think I'd rather deal with angry chickens.
Yes. And to lighten the mood a little bit, Allison's watching. So,
hey, Allison.
Hi, she
Goats.
Goats.
Yay, Allison. Thank you for the pun. Now, these children are not the only children that are seen on this road. There's also a ghost of a young boy who's all by himself that is seen on Kelly Road. You'll drive by him. He looks kind of raggedy, and when you stop or look back, he has disappeared. One resident on Kelly Road reports looking out into her backyard from her window, seeing the boy, describing him as a pale and dressed in a very ragged, old-fashioned clothing. He seems to glow with an unearthly white light while he played in her yard. She decided he could play in her yard. She wasn't going to disturb him. So again, just remember that it's not actually the ghosts you need to worry about. It's the chickens and the goats.
Always worry about the chickens.
Yep. And don't bring your animals on this road.
Never mess with chickens. That's a lesson that any video game player can attest to. Don't mess with chickens.
As much as I want them in my backyard, they can be mean.
Yes.
And I don't have room for them in my backyard right now.
The make room.
We could. We'd have to get rid of a firewood stand.
Or something.
Yeah.
Something.
Another discussion for another time.
Another discussion, another time. This is not the time to be debating this.
Yeah.
We could.
We're
But everybody would get bored and go away.
We're not going
We don't want to do that.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Staying in Pennsylvania, though. We are going to go to McCandless, Pennsylvania. Another place that I've never heard of. Have you? Okay. They have what they call Irwin Road.
And this is just outside of Pittsburgh, just to give you an idea of where we are in the state.
And it's also known as Blue Mist Road. So it's in the kind of the North Park area near Pittsburgh. Again, the town was McCandless. And this road is full of local legends and is the perfect spot for some late night frights. Now, during the day, it's fairly innocuous, nothing really too special about it, but the entire area is said to be shrouded in blue mist by night. Irwin Road was originally a 5-mile dirt trail that was created in the early 1800s. As time went on, the legends grew, but the road did not. The road is unlit, dotted with some scattered old home foundations along it, and is mostly used by runners today.
Oh, and there's a cemetery along the road as well.
Because cemeteries...
That just makes it that much more spooky.
Yes. So, local stories in the area include those of murders, floating mysterious blue orbs, people being chased by ghosts, and strange animals, and these seem kind of fairly easy to believe on a stretch of desolate road in the middle of a big, busy, well-maintained county park area. 2 lovers' headstones in an adjacent cemetery are said to touch under the full moon. And there's an old building foundation that is said to be the old home of an old lady who practiced black magic. The woman, who was considered by locals to be a witch, would open portals to dark dimensions on a daily basis, filling the land with dread and evil. It would also explain some of these other stories that they have in the area as well.
I'd be really curious to know if this was a vortex area.
Yeah. So the remaining homes in the area were filled with a variety of families who suffered in varying ways. One family was to be said of short stature. They were they had the genetic mutation. They were of dwarfism. Mm-hmm. The father of the family had a shotgun which he filled with rock salt to be shot at trespassers or late-night adventurers. There was another family who had a father who suffered from severe depression. One night after being laid off from his job, the father came home and murdered his whole family.
He then dumped the bodies in the septic tank.
To hide the evidence.
Years later, the house was destroyed.
And the tank was removed, and bones were discovered. There's also said to be a dog-deer-human mutant that lives in the woods in the area and will chase or harm any person who creeps too far into its territory.
Now this one I'm really curious about. I really want to dig into some cryptozoology and see what or cryptology and see what we can find.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do a show on that sometime and get more information about this dog-deer-human mutant.
Yeah.
Because he just sounds interesting.
Sorry, everybody. We're
punchy.
We're a little punchy. Still all fresh for us.
Yeah.
So, anyways, according to local legend,
yeah.
A visitor must drive up to the dirt part of the road, which is blocked off. And if they go ahead and they honk their horn 3 times, they can summon the spirits of the dead, who will proceed to make noises, appear as balls of light, or sometimes even appear as full-body apparitions. There was a young man that attempted to do this in the early 1970s with his girlfriend because, well, romantic, I guess. Sure, we'll go with that. At first, it was all just fun and jokes until they actually began to hear noises coming from the woods, followed by a deep blue mist that rolled up. They attempted to flee. The young man couldn't get the car to start, so he popped the hood and went outside to fix the engine. After a few minutes, the woman heard a loud thud. Calling out to her boyfriend, she received no answer, and believing that he was just trying to scare her, she locked the car and sat inside where she fell asleep. A few hours later, she awoke to the sound of tapping on the roof. Oh, thank you. That was not unsettling at all. Her boyfriend had still not returned, and it was late. She unlocked the door and got out to go ahead and the sight of her bloody boyfriend hanging above the car.
So this is actually where this urban legend started. And it is one of the most famous urban legends out there. It actually appears in the movie Urban Legend, was recreated in the movie. Yeah, I'm not going to drive down this road.
No, I think I'm good. This is one I can avoid.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of that urban legend.
Now, there's a story that's a little more sweet out there as well.
Yes, and this is actually similar to, if you've ever heard of the Romeo and Juliet cursed tombstones in Jamestown. This is kind of similar.
Jamestown?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Further in the woods, again, we mentioned there was a cemetery with old graves dating back to the early 1700s. Many of them are hard to read due to weathering, yet there are 2 of them that have captured the hearts of the locals. These are believed to be the graves of a couple that was deeply in love, only to be torn apart and killed by disease. Even in death, their love could not be broken, and the graves lean towards each other in a sign of their affection. On nights of the full moon, the graves come together and touch as the ghosts of the lovers dance around the graves. Full moon on a Valentine's Day, I say let's go. Now, there was a paranormal investigation on this road that was led by East Hill Paranormal Group. And they were actually asked, is there any activity, are there any ghosts on Irwin Road? So they organized in 2019 and investigated the unexplained, and they actually tried twice to get out to this road and investigate, and it was cut short because of health emergencies or suspected theft of equipment. So, 3rd time's the charm, right? They actually take 15 members out there, and they start doing EVP sessions, voice recordings, thermal readings, and digital photos. Myers and Reed, 2 members of the team, say that they heard faint sound of Native American drums. Borroman, who logged unusual temperatures in the valley along the road. Abnormally low readings are said to, of course, indicate spiritual presence. And many of the photographs taken by member Shelton contained orbs, circular anomalies that are said to indicate a spirit's presence. One picture we got made some kind of mad face, like somebody was upset that we were there. And we came across some very, very creepy spaces along this road. So, question was asked again. And Irwin Road, is it haunted? They said it's just creepy. It's freaky no matter which night you go there. We really don't know exactly what happened there, but it continuously provides paranormal activity.
Allison asked, is that part of the Lover's Lane murders, or was that somewhere else?
I didn't find any references to the Lover Lane murders with this story.
I think it was somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, this wasn't related to that, I don't think.
No. So.
Yeah. So, there you go, Allison.
All right, so now we're going to pop down to Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yes. Yeah, still sticking around Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I found a couple of really good ones in Pennsylvania. It was kind of cool.
Are there more animals?
I don't remember. There's 10 roads we're visiting tonight, so...
Allison commented, what the heck is up with Pennsylvania and spooky animal chases?
It's Pennsylvania. But I can say that because I have family there. Anyway, remember it happened in Scotland too.
Yes.
The A4, was it?
I think so, yeah.
Or, no, A75. A75, because it was I4. Anyway.
If you hear a little static or something like that, it's raining here now, and it's just rain beating on the roof. So
yeah.
If you hear a little something, that's what's going on here.
All right, so we're going to go to Constitution Drive in Allentown, Pennsylvania. It's a gravel road in a quiet part of Allentown that has a steep drop-off on one side, train tracks on the other. This desolate Allentown street is the setting of two completely separate urban legends. It's getting very loud. I might have to get a little closer.
Yeah, let's get a little closer.
Metal roof.
Don't spill your wine.
Yeah, okay. Wine. Wine is safe. Okay. So, the two separate urban legends that are here. One is a very clear origin and can be explained. The other one is a paranormal puzzler. People are not quite sure what caused this. So the first one states that a family of strange albinos live along the road. They attack anyone who comes near their property. They are said to kill any and all trespassers. Of course, the home the albinos are said to inhabit is occupied by a completely normal old man. Completely normal. He's not an albino. He's very friendly to neighbors who stop by and want to chat. And even though there are vicious dog signs all over the place, he actually owns a pot-bellied pig farm on the property. So that's the urban legend that really seems to have no basis. And I'm kind of curious of where it came from, but I was not successful in finding that out. I did find that it may have been started by a radio DJ to create hype and bring people up to Allentown to investigate. So you have to be careful about when you start to hear things out on the news and media, and you never know what their purpose is. The creation myths seem to have started in and around Prohibition times. And the moonshiners who lived in the woods around Constitution Drive were actually using the spring water back there. And so this is where having somebody come out and shoot you might have come from, because they were protecting their moonshine stills.
Kind of thing still happens to this very day.
Yeah, as one of our guides was telling us in the area where she grew up.
Liquor may be legal again, but people still love
making the shine.
Yep, and it's, for whatever reason, well, still illegal to make your own shine, depending on where you are.
Because it can't be regulated.
Details.
Yeah. Anyway.
Cheers, everybody.
White lightning, here we go. Alright, so the second legend of Constitution Drive is the paranormal one. The story has unclear origins and various witnesses to back it up. The legend says a man was walking his two dogs along Constitution Drive when he was hit by a train that runs across it at one point. The accident tore his leg off and he died of blood loss along the deserted road. His faithful dogs never left his side and died of starvation. He occasionally can be seen stumbling along the road with his dogs, who have glowing red eyes. Some people witness reports seeing only red eyes peer out at them from the dense woods. If I see blood red eyes peering out at me from a dark wooded area, I'm gone.
I'm just realizing we're kind of killing quite a few dogs tonight.
We are.
We're sorry, people. We don't.
That was not the intention when I first started researching.
No. No, we haven't read them completely out loud straight through like this, so now that we are, it's a little grim.
Goes with the color of the glasses.
Need more beer. Wine. Beer.
Anyway, so a lot of the witnesses actually appear to see him more in the winter, and when it happens in the winter, they will actually see surface track marks in the snow, 2 pairs of normal dog prints, and only 1 single human footprint, which I find really, really amazing that he can leave tracks.
That is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
It's one thing to hear footsteps. It's a whole other thing to actually leave footprints.
Yeah. They also hear a strange whistling sound along the road. It comes from every direction, has no explanation. It starts and stops at random. Some describe it as melodic and calming, yet deeply disturbing. Another reported phenomenon are phantom screams of a young girl, but some say this legend arose from the street's previously mentioned crime rate with the moonshiners and those types of things. Or it's also a place that's inhabited a lot by turkey vultures, and their high-pitched screams can sometimes sound like female.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So.
I've seen a lot of turkey vultures, but I don't think I've ever actually heard them
scream.
calling out.
But it is said that they sound like turkey vultures. So if somebody knows that, can confirm that for us. We've never heard it.
Every time I've seen them, they usually have their mouth full on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're getting out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, not Pennsylvania for one night.
Up to Maine, or over to Maine.
Maine?
Or not Maine, Massachusetts. Sorry.
Yeah, we've already been to Maine.
Yeah. Anyway, so on to Massachusetts. This is U.S. Route 44 in Rehoboth, Massachusetts. Say that 10 times fast. All right, so for as long as people in this area can remember, there have been claims of a red-headed man walking up and down Route 44. Some have stopped to pick him up, only to have him disappear on them. It sounds like an excellent story, giving people chills around the campfire, but the story might be more truth than legend, and the ghost might be more supernatural than literary. This is in an area that's known as the Triangle in Massachusetts, where, very similar to the Bermuda Triangle, it's one section of this tri-pointed area that is just very heavily active supernatural-wise. You're running away to get more wine or more beer?
Wine bottle's open.
Okay.
You want more?
I still have half a glass, because I've been talking.
Oh. Do I need to talk more?
Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. So he is described as being near the Seekonk-Rehoboth line. He is seen, of course, with the red beard, red hair, dressed in a red flannel shirt. He's a lot of red. And he appears disheveled with a very overgrown beard. He has sturdy work pants and work boots on. Sometimes the shirt is untucked, sometimes it's not. There are multiple ways of seeing him sometimes. But again, others say he appears solid. Some say he's not all there. He's slightly faded or see-through-ish. The biggest discrepancy that people will say is how they look at him. He seems normal, but something in the back of the head is saying this is not normal. It's that intuition warning that's going on. Another thing that they notice is off about him are his eyes. They appear lifeless. Black, empty, and another report, they're glowing. So I'm not sure if that has to do with his personal mood or not. But he's always been off on the side of the road. People will pull over to get him. Some people are always going back to see if they can see him again or to see him for the first time. He draws a lot of people in to investigate. Can they have this experience? Because he's quite a frequent sighting. So a lot of people think, well, if I'm going to go see a ghost, this is the place to do it. Someone will be driving along the road. Usually it's somebody who's alone. So that seems to be the best way to see him. They will see him on the side of the road. They'll stop to pick him up. The hitchhiker gets in, To the passenger or to the back seat of the car, he remains silent, ignoring questions, often staring at the Good Samaritan. He eventually vanishes before their eyes or is no longer seen when they turn around to look. This is usually followed by some type of audio finale where he laughs at him, yells, or taunts them. I personally don't want to pick up a ghostly hitchhiker who's going to taunt me.
People are all kinds of moonshiners. Glenn said his grandfather was a moonshiner back in the 40s and 50s. And we got Kiana says there was a rumor about an old moonshine operation that was practically in my backyard.
Awesome.
I know that I'm backtracking.
Yes, you are.
Sorry.
That's okay. He's checking the messages again. So,
yes.
All right. There are other tales attached to the mystery man, much like the stories of Freetown. People will actually drive through him. Sometimes he will be in the middle of the road, kind of daring the car, and the car ends up driving through him. Others will see him vanishing into the woods, waving, disappearing. Some have seen him outside their car window while they're driving at high speed. That would freak me out. And some say that they will see him suddenly appear in their back seat when they didn't stop to pick him up. So he seems to be quite the playful, I'm going to keep you on your toes ghost. The earliest occurrence, written record of him was actually appeared in a book called New England Ghost Files in 1994. There were several encounters described in detail about having this hitchhiker again be seen with you driving at a fast speed raid and having him look in your driver's side window, having him be picked up to vanish from the car. There's a very disturbing story in this book that tells of a couple who broke down at about 10 p.m. at night. The woman stayed in the car while the man went to get help. They both suffered separate experiences. The man saw him on the side of the road, tried to talk to him. The red-headed man began yelling at him and then disappeared, laughing from all directions and as the man made his way back to the car. The woman heard his voice come over the radio, taunting her until she ran away from the car. A lot of people have mixed feelings about their ghosts. In town, it's known for many, many hauntings, and the hitchhiker is the one that's the most asked about. Law enforcement hates the attention. We've seen this as a kind of theme throughout a lot of the haunted highways. They hate the investigations that it brings to town, but most of the residents embrace it. It brings money into town. Asking a local merchant will get you another story, beginning with a preface that it did not happen to him, but it was a few years back. So you hear that quite a bit. Not all the stories are in past tense. One woman claims she saw him walking into the woods on another road. She describes him differently, claims he never had red hair, but rather died along the road with the color red in it. The roads that she has seen him on are Redway Plain and Wilmarth Bridge Road, which are pretty close, but not the same as Route 44. She does say that a local farmer died on that road after getting hit by a car changing a tire for a stranded motorist, which is why he might laugh at you when you are asking for help. If he is that farmer, if he died while helping somebody, he may never want to help somebody again in the afterlife. Possible reason.
Very possible.
So that's our red-headed man on Route 44. I found a lot of personal occurrences, and they were all saying the same thing over and over and over again. I think I found about 10 of them, and I just tried to condense that down.
A lot of people encountered him out there.
Yeah.
So, certainly lends some credence to the stories.
Yeah, and as I said, he's the ghost that's seen most frequently and seen quite frequently. So.
Mm-hmm. So, where are we?
Right there, Wolf Island.
Wolf Island?
No, I'm sorry.
Did we miss something?
We are on Wolf Island.
Okay, all right.
I can eat now.
Yes, you can eat now. Fresh baked brownies. I've been eating and drinking and all that while she's been talking, so my turn. All right. of course, you stick me with the town name that I can't pronounce. Mattapoisett, Mattapoisett, Massachusetts, and Wolf Island Road. So Wolf Island Road has a long history of hauntings. The origins go back to colonial times when there was a group of settlers that executed several of the Wampanoag Native tribes people on what is now Wolf Island Road. The ghosts of these hanged people are said to still hang from the branches of the trees lining the road. The spectral forms are supposed to be visible on the anniversary of their deaths, which is sometime in midsummer. Some people have glimpsed the eyes of the dead men peering out from the branches where the bodies are to be said, or you can still see them swinging sometimes to this very day. In the 1950s, a young couple had pulled over to the side of Wolf Island Road because their car had stalled. They tried to go ahead and restart it, but they could not get it running. The boyfriend went to get help, and the girlfriend remained in the car. Left alone in the car for a while, the young woman laid down on the front seat. She claimed to have been awoken by a strange sound and sat up only to witness the ghostly bare feet of a man drop down and swing across her view of the windshield.
Nope.
In a panic, she tried starting the car, and it roared to life. She sped away into the night, absolutely terrified.
I want to know if she picked him up or not.
The boyfriend?
Yeah, I really want to know if she picked him up or not, or if she just left him there.
I don't know. How long was he gone?
I don't know. I couldn't find that.
Oh, well. Screw him. Get out of there. Yeah. There's another strange tale on Wolf Island Road. This one revolves around a fatal accident. Sometime during the 1970s, a young man crashed his vehicle into a large tree by the side of the road, and he perished in the accident. Local legend claims that if you pull up to the accident site in your car, then flash your headlight 3 times, the dead man and his car will suddenly flare to life. The ghostly car will speed towards your car and drive right through your vehicle. It will even leave tire marks across the top of your vehicle. That's weird.
Yeah.
I'm almost tempted to try that just because I want to see the tire marks. Not on your new car, though.
No, not on my car.
Yeah. We'll get a rental.
You didn't say that.
Yes, I did. It's okay.
All right, so we're going to bump up to...
Down.
Down, because we're going to Long Island.
Yeah, we're going to Long Island.
Long Island.
Long Island, New York, of course, and Sweet Hollow Road. Now,
that doesn't sound creepy.
Yeah.
Sleepy Hollow, Sweet Hollow.
It sounds so nice. But now it's located there on Long Island, and it's in one of the older areas that date back to the colonial era. For some reason, this area seems to attract and harbor ghosts.
It's an island. They can't get off.
Now,
just saying.
Now, oddly enough, there is another road, another whole road that actually runs parallel to this. That's called Mount Misery Road. So it runs parallel to the Sweet Hollow Road. It also has its own fair share of hauntings that date back hundreds of years. So you got this very gently, politely named Sweet Hollow Road, and then you have Mount Misery next to it. But Sweet Hollow Road is the one with the ghosts that we're going to be sharing with you tonight. It starts, we have a story where there is a young man traveling down Sweet Hollow Road at dusk. He was returning home from work, fairly relaxed despite the long workday that he had just put behind him. As he is driving along, he notices a group of children walking down the side of the road just ahead of him. Something is kind of off about them, and it takes the young man a minute to realize that the children are dressed in Depression-era clothing, and there are no adults accompanying them. They're not of this time, and they're all by themselves. He pulls his car to a stop to get a better look at them and to try and figure out where they could be going at this hour without an adult. As soon as he puts his car in park, the group of children vanishes before his eyes. Now, where do these children come from?
This is not nice, by the way.
God, man, we are grim tonight, aren't we?
We are.
During the 1930s, there was a children's day camp along Sweet Hollow Road. The camp was not a good place, and some of the children were abused, and it is believed that a few of them were even killed at this day camp. Their spirits, it would seem, refused to rest in peace.
Now, remember, 1930s, there were no regulations at that point in time.
It was the midst of the Depression.
It was it was not a good time period.
Yeah. So there are many people that have spotted this group of small kids dressed in the period clothing walking along the road, and they always disappear before anybody can get too close. Are they heading to that day camp where they may have lost their innocence or even their lives? Quite possibly so.
Yep.
They are not the only spirits on Sweet Hollow Road.
Nope.
There's also another one that as drivers travel down Sweet Hollow Road at night, the moonlight will often shine bright enough to illuminate the edges of the road. Stay alert, as there is a young woman in an old-fashioned white dress that might be illuminated by your headlights on the side of the road. She stands quite still until you get to the point of passing her. Just as the front of your car is even with her, she will lunge out at your car. Drivers will drastically swerve to avoid hitting her, and once they get control and pull over, the woman in white is nowhere to be found. This is the ghost of Mary on Sweet Hollow Road.
What is it with Mary's white dresses and roads?
Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Thank God there's not a mirror here. So
we see ourselves looking right back at us.
I don't think this counts.
Is
It's
there
a camera.
Anybody behind us?
No.
No?
I'm not turning it around.
There's the goose.
Yes. He's all lit up. He's our beacon of light.
That's the goose up there. So
that was
now,
a little close to my face.
the origin of Mary has two possibilities. The first tells of Mary and her boyfriend driving down Sweet Hollow Road one night. They got into an intense argument that just kept escalating. The exact details are vague when it comes to exactly what happened next. Either the enraged boyfriend opened the door and shoved Mary out as they were driving, or Mary was just so upset that she threw herself out of the moving vehicle. Either way, while driving at speed, hitting the asphalt alone might have been enough to kill Mary, but there was another vehicle driving behind them, and the driver of the second vehicle could not stop in time and ran Mary over. If the asphalt didn't get Mary, getting run over certainly did. The other possible origin story comes from locals and historians, actually. And they believe that the white woman is not Mary, but someone much, much older and with a much darker story to tell. There was a woman in the area that was accused of witchcraft who was hung on the side of Sweet Hollow Road. Her name was also Mary. This was about the same time as the famed Salem witch trials. However, unlike the man and women accused and killed in Salem, this woman was believed to be the real deal. Those who have seen her claim the flowing white dress is actually a white cloak. Her face is never clearly seen, and yet you can feel her eyes watching you. She often is seen as a storm is rolling into the area. So which Mary is it that is actually haunting Sweet Hollow Road? Maybe. Could even be both of them. It's hard to say. Either way, they are not the only spirits on that stretch.
Yeah.
We'll pass.
We'll come back to this another time just because of what's going on.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to take a pass on this one. Sorry, everybody. But there's one more.
There's one more along this road. This road has at least 4 stories on it, and as we said, there's a road that's running parallel to it that also has multiple stories on it. So this is a very haunted area. Now, there's actually a bridge that crosses over Sweet Hollow Road that is part of the North State Overpass, and it's known as the North State Overpass Bridge. A bus crossed the bridge and it hit a slick spot, lost control, and crashed onto Sweet Hollow Road below the bridge. Nobody survived this crash. All the children inside and the driver were killed. The locals swear that if you put your car into neutral under the bridge, you will feel it suddenly start to move forward. They say it's the hands of the children who died in the bus crash, watching out for drivers beneath the bridge. There's also sightings of 3 young boys on this bridge. Many have described driving along Sweet Hollow Road, approaching the bridge when something catches their attention near the underside of the bridge. They instantly hit their brakes as the bodies of 3 young boys hanging by their necks beneath the bridge appear. It's said that their eyes will open and then the bodies will disappear. The young men actually hanged themselves years ago, and the reason has been lost to time. People somehow don't remember what it was, or it was never recorded. But a lot of the Native Americans from this area who had tribal land out in this area before the colonists came in, say that this land has always been spiritually active. There have always been spirits out here, and there's some bad energy in this area as well. This was a trail that the Native Americans used along their trading routes, and they were always very, very careful when they were walking along this area. So we're going to come up to Harrison, New York, to Buckout Road. This is just outside of New York City's the Big Apple. It's in Westchester County, and it's a 2-mile stretch of haunted road that's a long-time favorite place for paranormal investigators to come out to. It does not have just one chilling tale. It actually has several chilling tales surrounding this road, and it creeps out many people even without seeing a ghost. One of the earliest legends dates back to the 1600s. No longer visible, but because of the more recently paved and widened road, but there used to be 3 X's marked on this one spot where 3 women were burned at the stake. Standing accused, of course, of witchcraft. 1600s, that whole paranoia was spreading wide and full of wildfire, and a lot of innocent people lost their lives. As legend has it, if you drive over the 3 X's, you would have terrible things happen to you. Kind of like driving over a gravesite. Not a good thing.
Yep. Yeah. How's that little rhyme go? Do not laugh as a hearse goes by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
So, over the past 30 years, modernization of the area has given the haunted road a somewhat bigger facelift, and doing away with the landmarks like the 3 X's and sweeping the eerie mist back under the rug, so to speak. Many New York residents speculate that stories like these were created to solely scare visitors off the haunted road. It backfired. It drew more people in. Yeah. So, well, the paved pathway, of course, is named Buckout Road. It was the Buckout, Buckhout family that once actually inhabited this area. One of the more popular legends of the road speaks of a lady in white said to be Mary Buckout, who died when she hung herself from a tree. Many people living in and visiting the area have reported seeing the ghost of a woman in white. John Buckout's grave still stands. Many people growing up in the area report that the family cemetery has many grave robberies, and it could be possibly that is the reason why Mary is so unsettled and is seen quite often. The most talked about tale from this road actually involves a now burned down and demolished property, commonly referred to as the Red House or the Albino House. The particular property has several structures, including homes, barns, and slaughterhouses. The legend said that if you parked your car in front of the Red House and honked the horn 3 times, a family of cannibalistic albinos would come out after you. In recent years, the Red House was destroyed in a fire, and soon after, the remaining structures on the property were demolished. Due to its over-the-top nature in the legend, that this is actually what brought a lot of people to this road in initial. I don't know what it is with albinos and drawing people.
I don't know.
I don't understand this.
People are spooked by albinos for some reason.
We had an albino squirrel in front of our house the other day. I thought it was awesome. I took pictures.
He was cool.
He was pretty.
Yep.
He was doing some parquet off of the light poles into cars.
He was going a little crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Parkour.
Yeah, parkour, not parquet. Sorry. Parquet? Butter? Anyway, one of the less frightening tale about the road is that of the Leatherman. And this is a ghost that supposedly is said to haunt the area. He is spoken of in the neighboring state of Connecticut as well. The Leatherman is a famous vagrant who walked 365-mile route from Connecticut to New York, living his life out of caves. The actual identity of the man is something that has been argued for ages. Who is he? But one thing we do know that he was given the name the Leatherman because of his entire leather wardrobe. Ready to visit Buckout Road, if you want to go, but you can't get somebody to go with you. The cave where the Leatherman is said to have hidden all of his gold and money is actually on Buckout Road. So maybe if you can't get somebody to go ghost hunting with you, you can get somebody to go treasure hunting with you. Just saying. And that was actually our last
story that we're going to share
last road tonight. There's going to be one more haunted road next week.
Oh, not on next week's show.
Yeah, next week's show.
Yeah, we are next week. Our theme is actually going to be it's going to be
it's going to be very strategically located in the area.
Regionally oriented.
Yeah.
It's not themed. It's not like the roads or the lighthouses or the other themed ones that we've done.
No, it's Chris and mine old stomping ground for college.
Yes.
It's the areas that we would visit as we were college students and things that we would drive around. And some of these places we have a connection to, some of them we don't, some of them we need to go see. And one of them, we're like, what? That happened where? We didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
So, I actually asked my sister, we went to the same college, I was like, hey, do you remember? She goes, I vaguely remember this, but what happened there?
Yep.
So it was a shock to find out about it, and now I kind of want to go hunting for it.
Yep. So next week, stories close to our heart.
Yes.
Close to our origins, if you will. So that's what we got lined up for next week.
Which will be on Monday again.
Yes, we will be back regular
Monday.
schedule on Monday. So or this Wednesday thing, it's not permanent. We appreciate everybody understanding and
moving days with us.
And moving days with us and tuning in tonight. It was... Yeah, it's been rough on so many levels. So, yeah, we really appreciate you, tuning in, because this is... it helps us. Mm-hmm. It's a little cathartic for us. We love being able to share these stories, and we're very glad that we have you out there to enjoy them with us.
And we will keep doing it.
Yep, we are going to keep doing it. So, in the meantime, anything else for tonight?
I don't think so.
Let me see. Let me make sure I'm not...
Check comments real quick?
Yeah, check comments real quick. Make sure I'm not missing anything.
And I will keep drinking wine.
So, one thing, we should try not to load up so many dead animal and children's stories in one show again.
Yeah, I will keep that in mind.
It was polite, yeah.
Yep.
We appreciate the hangout. So
I didn't realize I had gotten that deep. Sorry.
Yeah. we just you picked out a bunch of individual very good stories, but you inadvertently struck a theme.
I did, and I did not mean to. Sorry.
Yep, and yes, yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with albinos. Albinos are cool. Definitely agree with you there. Just people, definitely heard that. Yes.
Yes, heard that.
Yes.
My favorite one is actually Boo Radley from To Kill a Mockingbird in the movie.
Yes.
He did a very good job.
Yeah. So, let's see. Oh, Glenn, you'll be watching. We'll look forward to seeing you on Monday. Can't stop thinking about white squirrel with a bottle of parquet.
Yeah, I mean, it really was funny. It would go up like 3 feet and then like backflip, hit the car, front flip, and then back down on the ground. It was parkour, hardcore. I was like, dang, I'm a squirrel.
He was having a good time. Or not, I don't know.
Or freaking out. I'm not really sure. There was a dog coming. But I don't know if the squirrel saw him yet, because he was the next street down still.
Yep, and Glenn, yes, we're happy to be here, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the well wishes. We greatly appreciate that. Patrick, same. Thank you very much, and thank you for still doing live.
Alex.
Complete. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Alex, and yeah, as I said, it was cathartic for us, too, to be able to do this. So we do enjoy this, and this is the kind of thing that we need to do rather than just brooding. So
yeah, we need our schedule right now.
Which, yeah, completely out the window, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. I will keep working tomorrow. Boo Radley, yay!
All right, everybody. So we'll go ahead. We're gonna check out for tonight. You all take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy, and we hope to see you all next Monday. We'll put up a Facebook announcement for that soon. Probably tomorrow or something like that.
Stay cool with the heat.
Yeah, stay
Please
cool.
Stay cool.
Yes, wherever you are, and yeah.
Yep. And cheers to you. We will see you on Monday.
Cheers, everybody. You want to get the button
Yeah,
tonight?
I get the button.
You get the button tonight.